So we're going to use graphite shavings for this next technique. So what I've done is folded a scrap bit of paper. I've got, as you can see, it's a bit messy. I've got a sharpener, and I'm literally going to just turn my 6B pencil, not all the way around, just very gently, because I'm trying to capture a whole bunch of graphite shavings. And I'll show you what they look like once I get a few on that little piece of paper. I fold it up around the edges so it kind of catches it like a tray. And you should be getting just some little shavings. You'll probably get bits of timber as well, but hopefully more shaving than timber. And you collect a nice little bundle of graphite shavings. Now, instead of using the pencil itself directly on the paper, what we're going to do is use those shavings and rub it onto a tissue, or you can rub it onto a cotton tip, and actually then use that tissue or cotton tip to then apply the graphite onto the image. But before I begin, so there's all my little graphite shavings. But before I begin, I'm just going to do a very simple keyline drawing, say, of an apple, just so you can see a different way of doing a similar approach to this technique. So a similar kind of very rough apple. And then rather than using a pencil and using it to apply the graphite, we're actually going to use those graphite shavings on a tissue. So I'll just show you. You just literally wrap it around a finger and kind of not dip it, but rub it onto the graphite itself. So you're actually getting quite a bit onto the end of that tissue. And then all you need to do is gently rub that and apply it. So obviously the more that you apply, you can dunk it back more into the graphite shavings. You'll get that intensity of tone the more you apply each of those layers. As you can see, the tissue may not have as much control, but the image and the technique and the look of it is quite different to my capsicum. It's a lot softer. And you can do the same with your cotton bud, but you'll find it's a lot more focused in where that pressure is actually going. But this is a similar technique, applying a similar approach. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a lovely soft apple using that kind of application technique with the tissue and the cotton bud. I'm going to give it a little bit of a shadow underneath. Give it a bit of a placing on like a harder object, so putting a bit of a shadow there. Now, of course, I accidentally picked up the 3B, so there's not a lot of, so I'll put a bit more graphite down using the 6B, and so I can give that a little bit of a shadow that it's sitting down on the ground. My lovely apple. But as you can see, it's very soft. It's quite different to the capsicum, so it really depends on how you want to use this technique. But what's great is you can mix techniques. So what I'm going to do is put a bit of a background just to place it on the page a bit. And as you know, I'm using quite a strong line, quite a energetic line to define that background, which in a sense is probably more similar to the last technique that we used, where we're using line to wrap a shape. I'm actually just using line, very strong lines to define the background. Sorry, my hand's in the way, which isn't very helpful. But in a sense, I've combined two different kind of techniques, which can be quite an interesting approach in doing things. So make sure you can experiment with and actually try different techniques when it actually comes to drawing and seeing. Show and tell. Okay, I had to check this one in. What we did last time we met was this wrapping using lines. Well, this is the object that I did. So as you can see, I've got kind of lines, horizontal lines, creating that kind of round curve, and then more horizontal lines, so horizontal and vertical lines to define that shape. Plus obviously my squiggly background, because I like the squiggly background. So yeah, that's me having a go at the technique from last fortnight. Now, in regards to ways that you can experiment, I have been using an app off and on called ArtSet, ARTSET. It's an iPad app, but you can get it for your phone. It's actually quite a cool little app, and you can also get it for your iPhone or any phone, I'd say. So you can get a pocket edition, so if you're desperate, and you can take photographs and actually apply all manner of different mediums, so paint, pastel, textures, in a variety of different colours, using the app over the top of your image. So it's actually quite a fun thing, and I thought you might enjoy it. There's something to experiment with in addition to everything else that we're doing. Thank you everyone for coming to ODAM Artist Lesson, and we'll see you in a fortnight. Bye!